How you guys doing? Okay, so I had to cut the other one off early the other day, just because the client was coming in. There's a couple more things to talk about as to reasons why you might not get tattooed. So we covered antibiotics, pregnancy, and long-term medications in the previous video. If you want to check that out, just head to the page. You'll see the one before this one. This time, I was wondering if we could maybe talk about alcohol, what that does to you, why it can't work on you, and then some things that would make things difficult for you during your tattoo. So why you might feel a bit unwell, or maybe why your pain tolerance isn't as good as it was maybe the time before. So I just wanted to go over a few of those things. So alcohol, right? Essentially reason number 4 that you can't get tattooed. If you come in on a skin full of alcohol and you haven't told me, you tend to bleed quite a bit. The problem is when you're bleeding quite a bit, there's all sorts of other things that go along with it. One, it makes just our life a little bit more difficult, right? If you're profusely bleeding, we literally can't see what we're doing. If you're not, and it is something that we can work with, your actual ability to heal is going to be impaired. And more to the point, it causes other indications, other contraindications on the skin. So we'll notice a few more, like it'll swell a little bit more. You might find that your pain tolerance isn't where it needs to be, sorry. You might find that you're just a bit lethargic, you're just not in the mood for it, stuff like that. The other thing to consider is the redness. For whatever reason, I don't know why, it doesn't happen in everybody, but I notice that people who do drink quite a bit, there's a lot more redness in the skin, that localized redness and swelling and whatever. You put that next to some really contrastful colors and it can look really sketchy, so you have to be careful with that. Okay, so alcohol really is just a bad thing for you to have in your system. You're not going to heal very well. It makes the scabs thicker in most cases, and the other thing to consider is I find that you just don't have as good a time afterward. And obviously with thicker scabs comes more potential for infection and stuff like that when you crack these things as you move. So that's alcohol pretty much. There wasn't really a lot to talk about on that particular topic. But there might be some reasons as to why you're struggling a bit during a tattoo as well. If you're coming in here and you're coming in on an empty stomach, not particularly useful. If we then spike your adrenaline levels, or you're really anxious or something like that, and you haven't got any fuel, basically you haven't got any calories in your system, you're going to drop. And when you drop, you're going to start to feel a bit faint. You profusely, and I do mean profusely, sweat. All your color will drop from your face. You'll then start to feel a bit weird while you're sat there. That's not particularly helpful. Not for you, not for us. We can try and sort you out, maybe get you some sugary tea or coffee or something like that, but that is literally a temporary measure. It just kind of brings you up to a level where you can, maybe not pass out. In the 10 years I've worked in the UK, I've only ever had one person pass out, and it's literally because they didn't eat. What do you do? The other thing to consider is when you're having your tattoo and you're on your tattoo day, a big thing for you to do is eat calories. And to put that into perspective, let's say for me, maintenance calories on a day is 3,200 calories. On a tattoo day, I'll double that. Whether that's fucking biscuits, if you know me, it's bourbon biscuits, chocolate, it doesn't matter. Extra food, you name it, I'll put it in while I'm getting tattooed. If I can snack and do that thing, that'd be perfect. That's exactly what I'm doing. You want to top that up throughout the day. You want to put some complex stuff behind it so that you don't just, crash and burn because you've had a sugar rush the whole day. So there's a couple things to take into consideration where that is concerned. If you don't do these things, obviously it stops your tattoo early, and then you can't be tattooed for the rest of your day. If you've booked out a whole day, and then you've cut it short, by 6 hours because you didn't eat, well, more fool you, really. I mean, it's something that we would have told you to do during the consultation anyway. And those of you who've had work done by me know that I'm a big advocate for eating food after your tattoo. Eat a little bit more than you normally would. When we talked about the pregnancy thing or the antibiotics thing, we mentioned that your body is trying to fight something or do something else, right? its priority is not on you. Well, if you've got no calories in your system, and then I go and cause a whole bunch of damage to your body through the tattoo, because the tattoo is essentially damage, how the fuck are you going to heal? And if your body then reallocates some resources to then try and heal that bit, what happens at that point to how you're feeling? You're going to feel like you've been hit by a truck, dude. It's not useful for you. It's not helpful for you. What you want to do is make sure that you've got a nice, healthy appetite, you're eating well, you eat afterwards. I couldn't give a flying fuck if you had Domino's for breakfast and then came in here and had a chocolate gâteau for lunch and then went home and did yourself an all-you-can-eat Chinese. If anything, it's probably going to do you a favor. That is a massive extreme. But, it's a great way to make sure that your tattoo heals well. Just saying, right? We did also touch on long-term medications. I did just want to double tap that real quick. I am asthmatic, so I have to have the corticosteroid inhaler. And with that particular one, there's all sorts of side effects. Now, for me, it did some really random shit. It is in the list of stuff that it says, but the actual medication itself, because it was a steroid, actually helped me heal. The only problem is what the steroid itself was doing to the rest of my body was really negative for me as a whole. So even though the medication is useful for asthma and let me fucking breathe, the medication was actually quite useful from a tattoo standpoint, but it made me as an individual feel bad. So how do I offset feeling bad? I was having to eat lots more food to make up for the degradation in my quality of life. So when you're having a tattoo day, that's super complicated. So yes, I'm healing really quickly. Like, I'm completely healed in less than 4 days because I'm full of fucking steroids. But even though it's a corticosteroid, it would act the same. It's making me do things that I wouldn't otherwise normally be able to do. Yes, it's meant to reduce the inflammation inside my lungs, but it is still a fucking steroid. It will still have certain effects on me. So the downside was that it was tanking my hormones and making me feel like absolute shit. So then when I had a bit of pain like this, the pain felt worse. The trying to manage that pain meant I was eating more, sugary stuff, more chocolate, more sweets. I was doing that day to day just to kind of fucking feel something. And then you get all these huge convoluted side effects and whatnot. So even though I was taking a long-term medication that made my tattoo heal better, I still needed to have all of that extra food in my system in order to even be able to survive the tattoo session, if that makes any sense. I know that's like a really roundabout way of doing things. But what I really want to stress on that last point was that each medication will have its nuances based on the individual taking them. So if you're struggling and you are taking something, I couldn't tell you personally what that's going to do to you. Only you know. All I can do is maybe give you a couple pointers on how to manage that inside the tattoo room. Oh God, there's a lot of messages there, sorry. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea about what I mean when it comes to long-term medication. In terms of the thin skin thing, because there's a lot of reasons that you might be on an antidepressant. It's not necessarily because you're depressed. We all know this. It's not a fucking secret. So the antidepressant can be used for all sorts of things, pain management, for example. Well, it's one of those things where, yes, okay, so you're on the medication, but when I was talking about the thin skin thing, I can literally see it on the client in front of me. So when they're sitting in that chair across from me while we're doing that consultation, I can literally see. Now, if we go back, and I'm going to draw a parallel here between, that I'm on asthma inhalers, right? And it is a steroid. If we then draw a parallel to somebody who is taking a steroid for, say, other reasons, right? I'm not going to get into that. But let's say we have somebody like that. It turns out that depending on what it is that they're using, they can also end up with really thin skin. They'll heal really well, but to actually tattoo, they're a fucking nightmare. And it's not their fault. They might need that for medical reasons. It's just something that we as professionals will have to deal with when you're in front of us. It doesn't necessarily stop you getting a tattoo. Only in the case where, you know, that one particular case where that was really, really bad, it meant I had to stop early. That's all. Let them heal, come back to it. What I really didn't want to do was stress anybody out in terms of, oh, I'm on this medication, I can't get tattooed. It's not what I meant. What I mean is, sometimes in some cases, it's absolutely fine, and, you know, as professionals, we should be able to work around that for you. Hopefully that makes a bit more sense. The other video is a bit rushed, and I do apologize. If you guys have questions about it, then message, and I'll, you know, if I have time, I'll send you guys a message and kind of explain a bit more, and hopefully maybe shine some light on your particular case, your individual issue, if I know anything about it. Unfortunately, medical professionals know less than fuck all about tattooing, so that's not particularly useful. They look at it from a medical standpoint only, not from, you know, well, I'm 36 now, so the 20 years of industry experience that we have, which can't be discounted, right? Some people will have an idea, don't get me wrong, some medical professionals will have had work done and so on and so forth, but it certainly doesn't make them a tattoo artist with that kind of knowledge base. So just, you know, get your information where you need to, then we can cross-examine the information with what we know here, and then if it's suitable for you, then by all means, we'll get you in through the door. Hopefully that helps a bit. I felt like that was a little bit a massive information dump. I'll try and break these videos down, because obviously with Facebook Lives, I can't then stream to Instagram as well. So I'll break these down maybe into each individual point, and we'll get them up so people can see them. Genuinely though, if you have questions, just give us a shout, and hopefully it helps. I don't know if these are particularly useful for you guys. If they are, if you want to see more information around tattooing, it might be an interesting thread that we can maybe do once a week or something like that. I have no idea. It's whatever you guys want. In the interim, I'm going to finish my coffee, and you guys look after yourselves. Take care. Bye.